Yeah, we're gonna do a slideshow so I can get away with like copyright infringement or whatever,
Yeah.
fair use. But let's see here. Okay, let's see. All right, we're gonna start off with the original, the remake, because I just want to assume you've never seen Aladdin before. Assume you never saw the animated classic with Robin Williams, and you'll see why this is so infuriating. I guess let's do full screen slideshow.
Here, a slideshow of screenshots.
Yeah, I did because I'm a dork.
Nice.
This took like 10 minutes to do. I was watching it like at double speed, like just pressing like Windows print screen, window print screen, window print screen, like over and over. And then I just put them all in a folder. So they all should be chronological. But so this movie starts. We get the Disney logo, and then we start. It's the open sea, and there's like a boat. And we've got these two kids. And they're looking at the impressive other ship next to them. Oh, man, it's going to be doing that automatically. So I'm going to exit slideshow. There we go. So I can control it.
Control how fast it switches.
So you got this little kids, and they're like talking about how big the other boat is, and they wish they lived on a big boat. And you've got this guy. It's obviously Will Smith in a terrible like crate beard wig, fucking fake costume beard. And he's just telling his kids like, "Hey, you guys got to be happy with what you got," and blah blah blah, and something or other. And the kids are basically saying like, tell us a story. He's going to tell them a story about, he literally spells it out. He says like about Aladdin and the princess and true love and all this stuff. And they're like, "Please sing the story, Daddy." And he's like, "Oh, I can't sing. I don't really want." And then he starts singing. He starts singing the Arabian Night song, and the kids are all excited. And he's like, getting them ready. The Arabian Night song. And it just starts going on. And then we cut across the ocean. It's not like another story. It looks like this is happening meanwhile. And then we see the city. We see Abu running around. And then we just like cross across the city into a balcony real quick while the Arabian Night song is happening. And we see the Sultan. And then we see this lady with a tiger. And we don't know who any of these people are. Nothing's being said. We just know that this Arabian Night song is going on. And it's going on for like several minutes this whole time while we see this. And then we see we follow the parrot that leaves the palace, and it goes out to the desert. And this all happens like in seconds. And then we see this cave with these people standing out in front of it. It's like a tiger. And there's like a voice coming out of the cave saying, "I seek the diamond in the rough," in that freaky voice. And the guy goes inside, and then the cave collapses. And then it keeps moving on. This is the credits. These are the credits. This is all happening in the opening credits while the song is going on. Then we see a guy with a bird, and he's like looking upset. We don't know what's happening. And then we cut to a market. And this is the first time we see Aladdin. And I don't know if you noticed, but like, whenever you're framing a shot, you always want your main character to be like this, like vague, shapeless character that we don't even realize is like the camera's tracking in on. And then we get these two ladies who talk to Aladdin, and they basically try to steal something from him. And he's like, "Hey, don't steal my thing." But then the monkey steals a necklace from them. And then they tell on this guy, "Hey, this guy stole the necklace from me." And then they start running, and that's it. And then they get away, and that's it. And he's got his necklace, and he gets some dates. And the lady doesn't want to sell him 3 bags of dates for his stolen necklace. She gives him 1 bag. And he goes over here and he eats 1 date, and then he gives the rest of the dates to 2 little kids. And then he runs off over here. And then we got a lady in a market. We don't know who this lady is. And she tries to give some bread to 2 little orphans. And this guy starts getting really pissed off because she took the bread without saying anything. And again, we don't know who this lady is. Assuming you haven't seen, that's the problem with this. Is like it just assumes you know who Jasmine is. It just assumes that this is Jasmine out in the market.
Not really. That's kind of what happens in the original too. Or do they show her?
No, dog. I'm gonna go over the original in a second. You're gonna be the storytelling and pacing is just like these are like character writing 101. Like we have no idea who these people are or what they're doing.
But do you need to know? Like if you hadn't seen the other one, would you need to know?
Well, I'm just gonna explain why it's better in the other one because you don't need to know, but it's like it's better to not be like confused. And now the thing that sucks is, like I said, you're not actually confused because you know this is Aladdin. He's coming in to intervene because she's like a nice piece of ass, and you know, he basically does this like thing where he like, oh, I'm gonna give you this bracelet in exchange for the bread, and she's like, yo, that was a very important bracelet to me. And he's like, oh, it's all good because I actually stole the bracelet from him, and now he realizes it, and he's like, all right, we'll split up. And Apu looks very distracting. He doesn't look like a real monkey. He's got like a weird face. I don't know. There's something weird about him. And this guy, he also has a weird face. I think it's his wig or his ridiculously perfect teeth that is not suitable for the time period. His teeth are just too good.
They're not cast well.
His teeth are also too big for his head, I think. I don't know. There's something about him. I'm not really. And this hairline, I don't know what's. It's not real. Obviously, this looks like it's sprayed on his hair. I don't know. Anyway, they split off. They start running off, and this is where we get the one jump ahead song. And both Princess, I assume Princess Jasmine and Aladdin are running around doing parkour, and it's just. First of all, everything in this market is colorful. And everything is like all sorts of colors and textures. So during these action scenes, like when everything's in motion, it's very hard to follow the action. And you know, you got these guys chasing them, and they're just like jumping on and off balconies and running around. And you know, he falls into some harem, and these look like little children, which is weird. And you know, he's jumping off tents, and then they're holding hands, running away. Then they get on the back of a little wagon. They're there for a while, and then they kind of run up this staircase. This fat lady says that she thinks Aladdin's hot, so I'm going to block off this road. And then they jump down here, and they run off. He tells her, hey, it's okay. Jump. Trust me. I want you to trust me. Keep in mind, we don't know who these people are. We don't fucking know anything. And then she comes over here, sits on his lap awkwardly, sexually. And then I think that's it. And then we meet this guy in a dungeon, and he is upset because he hasn't found his diamond in the rough. He yells at this guy for a second because he calls him second in command. He's second only to the Sultan. He should be happy. He's not happy about it, and then he pushes this guy down a well. And then we see Aladdin. He's back at his house. He has like a little secret stairway that leads up to this like lovely tower. And this is like a view of the city, and it's like broad daylight. And then he's like, oh, well, you know, here's another view. And she says that her name is Dumari or something like that. And he says, oh, you must be the handmaiden to the princess because you're obviously from the palace. And it's like, yeah, that's who I am. I'm the handmaiden to the princess. And it's nice to meet you. And then it's like, yeah, here's my view from my thing. Okay, and that's it. That's the first 15 minutes of this movie. All right. I'm just going to talk about that. Now I want to compare this to the original. Okay. The original, I just hate to say like, oh, I'm all about nostalgia or whatever. But I mean, it's just from the very beginning, just so much better and so much more concise. Open. We're going to open up another slideshow over here. Okay. So again, Disney logo, and then we begin the movie, and it's immediately just a big pink thing of smoke, and we hear the title right in the very beginning. That's the first thing we see, Aladdin. And then the song starts, and it's like Arabian Nights, and the song is 30 seconds long. It's literally like one verse, one chorus, and then it's over. In the original, in this new one, it's like a whole song with like a hip hop beat, and like they do all this exposition in the credits. Whereas in this one, the credits are basically, we watch this guy ride a camel through the desert. We see the town. We come into the town. This guy shows up here, and that's the last credit. We're like a minute into the movie. And then the camel's super tired. Camel falls down. Guy gets off it. Now the movie's starting. And this guy, unlike Will Smith in the other one, where he's obviously the genie, a lot of people don't realize this guy is also voiced by Robin Williams. Which is kind of like saying he is kind of the genie, which is fine, but it's like, it's not, you know, super over obvious. But the whole point is he's not trying to tell his dumb kids like a story to keep them from shutting up, to keep them to shut up a little bit. This guy's trying to sell you something. And he's like, oh, check it out. I've got a story. This is a place of mystery and enchantment. And also I've got a bunch of cool shit for sale. And he tries to sell you a hookah, and it breaks. And he's like, okay, well, I've got this thing. It's very mysterious. And it's basically, this is the whole point of the movie, is this guy is trying to sell you a piece of junk. And he's doing so by giving it some grand tale that probably isn't even true. I'll bet you all this genie shit's like not even real. He's just trying to sell you a lamp so you can pour gravy on stuff. What are these things for anyway? That's a question. Does anyone know what an actual lamp is?
It's an oil lamp. I think there's a wick on it.
Oh, it's an oil lamp.
Like,
Yeah,
right? Or something.
Okay.
yeah. I think it's a light.
Yeah, I don't know. If you watch the actual whole Aladdin remake, all the songs are like in halftime with like hip hop beats on them. It's weird. So anyway, now the story. He's like, okay, well, I'll tell you the story about the lamp. It's a great story. And the guy basically begins his story. And keep in mind, the credits are already over. The song Arabian Nights is over. And we start with the stars and these two mysterious figures in the desert. And the guy asked the thief, this guy, this intense fucking looking dude, you know, he basically asked this guy to give him this stolen little ornament, and he puts it together and it turns into like a flying bug thing, and it flies off, and then it goes into some hill, and it turns into a living, like talking fucking tiger cave. The tiger opens his mouth and just sits there, and he's like, holy shit, this is awesome. And he tells this guy, go in there, get me that fucking lamp. And the guy's about to walk in there, and the bird, keep in mind, in the original, in this remake, the bird literally talks like a parrot. He's just, whack, I'm a parrot. And in this one, you know, it's Gilbert fucking Gottfried, and he's hilarious.
Who's the new one?
This is the old, this is the cartoon, yeah.
No, who did the Iago in the new one?
Oh, I don't even know. It's just like a little bird voice. Yeah, he talks more like a bird. He's not an actual character in the new one, which is fine. But anyway, then he tries to walk in, and then he sees this cool staircase, and the tiger starts opening its fucking mouth saying, you know, talking, like, which is horrifying. And it's like saying, like, yo, hey, only a diamond in the rough can enter here. And he's like, all right, whatever that means. And he's like, go on in. And he goes in, and he dies. The cave eats him, and he realizes, like, shit, I got to find out whoever this diamond in the rough is. And then the bird starts, like, you know, going on a Gilbert Gottfried tirade. This is 5 minutes in, and he's like, we gotta, you know, what are we gonna do? He's like, I'm gonna find this diamond in the rough with his hard F right there. Okay. And this is kind of what I'm getting at. Introducing characters. This is the first time we see Aladdin. He's got a piece of bread, and there's people after him. And it's obvious that he has stolen this bread. He even says, like, all this for a loaf of bread. So he's a thief. And we don't know anything about this guy. And then he runs down here, jumps down, wearing some clothes, saying, hey, I got this bread. And then these two ladies, they're like, oh, Aladdin, you're up to the same old nonsense. He's like, yep, sorry. You're only in trouble if you get caught. And he's like, oh, I'm in trouble. And it's all moving very fast. And we know that he's got his little monkey that's helping him, and they're running. And then he starts doing his one jump ahead song. And there's just the thing about it compared to the original, there's just so much shit going on in this movie because it's animated. You got like this dude falling with fish. He gets pantsed. It's moving a mile a minute. They're running and jumping and just chasing, knocking barrels off each other. And the whole time he's singing this song about himself, about how I got to keep one jump ahead because I'm always stealing shit, you know? So we're getting to know this guy. Yeah, that's like the Wook anthem, by the way. It's like a Wook. Yeah, it's like a Wook song, for sure. And he's just over here talking about how he just wants a loaf of bread. They're trying to fucking kill him with knives and shit. And you know, he runs in here, and this time the brothel, it's like these are like sexy women. All right, cool. In the live action, it's like it seems like they're like 14-year-olds. It was weird. And you know, Aladdin's over here, or Abu's over here stealing fruit. They got the mistress or the maiden or whatever. What's her name? The madam. Talking about how she'd blame his parents, but he doesn't have any. So we know that he's like an orphan. We know that he's constantly on the run. This is his day-to-day life. He's like hiding from guards in like clever ways, running on sheep and shit. They're like throwing sheep. I mean, this is fun. He's like, they're like jumping over it's just moving so fast.
The other one wasn't.
No, the other one's boring. And keep in mind, this is all still the first 10 minutes of the movie. And like the whole point is like, there's a great song and dance. Oh, and here's the big fat lady that thinks Abu's Aladdin sexy. You know, it's all funny. They get away. Yeah, I mean, that shit's funny. That shit's great. Running on the guys with the hot embers. I mean, it's just moving. It's moving.
That was in the Sega game, the Aladdin Sega game.
The Aladdin and the Lion King Sega game. They were both very hard. The Lion King game really made me want to rage quit. as a kid.
Yeah, they're both great.
Abu's got 4 hands because, you know, when you animate stuff, you want to animate it a certain way, these intercepting pictures, so that way you'll get good motion. That's actually pretty cool freeze frame. But, you know, he's like, hey, man, this monkey's got a sword. We've all got swords. Like, we can't be scared of this monkey. And, you know, there's like lots of jokes. There's lots of stuff. But the point is, Aladdin is got a life on the run. Then we get some nice like magic carpet foreshadowing where he gets on a carpet and jumps out the, you know, thing, slides it down. These guys fall on a big thing of fertilizer, of poop. Crazy Hakim's discount fertilizer. It's probably, I wonder if it's like human fertilizer. That'd be cool. Anyway, again, back to the Future, you know, more falling in poop. That's like a recurring thing in those movies. But yeah, so now he's got his bread. He's got the taste of his reward, the rewards of his victory, and he splits it, and he sees these little kids like getting ready to eat like a fish skeleton out of a dumpster, and Abu's like, no, I don't want to give it away, and you know he's like eating it, and these kids look at him, look at their little eyes, and Abu, and you know we see right here that Aladdin is a good guy. He feels guilty, and he gives the bread to them. We get to know this guy. Abu feels bad too. He gives the bread, you know, and then they meet the Sultan who's like riding in on his nice horse. And they're like, oh, it's another suitor for Princess Jasmine. So we know of a Princess Jasmine. The name is mentioned. We know that a Princess Jasmine exists. We know that there's a person called Princess Jasmine in this movie. And you know, these kids run out in front of the fucking thing, and this guy's about to whip them. And he jumps in and grabs the whip and gets thrown in the mud. So, you know, he's a good guy. We know this. We get to meet this character. That's kind of what I'm getting at. You know how important this is? Mm-hmm. And he says, you know, hey, fuck this guy. He says, what he says, it's not every day you see a horse with 2 rear ends. That's pretty funny. And this guy basically tells him, hey, you're a fucking no good street rat. You're going to die and only your fleas are going to give a shit. And it's like, yeah, that's pretty brutal. It's pretty harsh. Yeah. And it really gets to him. And he goes back to his little solitude, little fortress of solitude that he has, and he puts his little monkey in his little bed, and he opens his curtain, and he looks out there, and he's like, man, there's like more to my life. I can do more. I want more. And you get to know this guy. You're like, hey, this guy, he's a thief with a heart of gold. Compared to the one we just saw, where he's just some guy in a fucking alley, and we have no idea who he is or what's going on. And then we get to meet Jasmine, which is also incredibly important. We see this guy storming out. He's pissed off. He says, good luck marrying her off. And we find out that she's basically sicked her tiger onto him. He's got his underwear in the tiger's mouth. And, you know, the dad's like upset. He's like, yo, I got to marry you off before your 18th birthday. And she's like, look, this is bullshit. I don't want to marry some guy because I'm supposed to. I want to marry someone for love. And, you know, we get to know this girl. She's like, hey, I've never been outside the palace walls. I don't know what it's like to be a normal person. I don't want to do this shit. I don't want to be a princess, she says. And it's like, okay, we get to know this girl a little bit. And she lets these birds out. These birds represent her. She's living her life in a cage, you know? So what does she do? And then instead of seeing Jafar in a weird cell talking to some random guard, Jafar goes straight up to the Sultan and is like, hey, I need to borrow your fucking blue diamond on your ring. And he's like, lets him feed his bird crackers, even though his bird hates these crackers. And he's like, look, I need your ring. He's like, I don't really know about that. And he like hypnotizes him. So we know right away this guy's evil. I mean, you know, and he gives him the ring. And he's off to do some spooky shit with the ring. We don't know what it is. He's going off to his creepy quarters while the bird is talking about how much he hates the Sultan, and they can't wait till they get the Sultan and they get their revenge on him. Like they're clearly plotting against the Sultan. And then we see Jasmine sneaking out in the dead of night. The tiger's like telling her, like, please don't go. He's like, oh, I've got to go. And then we cut to the market. And this is actually pretty interesting. I never noticed this, but Aladdin's on top of this melon hut. And he gets Abu to set up a little distraction while he steals a melon. And then the balls on this guy to just eat the stolen melon, like right above this guy's head. Like they're really just like eating this melon right over him. And then they do a good job of like Jasmine walking around the market. Everyone's trying to sell her shit. She's such a beautiful lady. And dude, like this is what I'm talking about. We see the scene of him like laying eyes on her and just being like, holy God, like I've got to get me some of that. So we understand that he's just a dumb idiot who just likes this girl because she's super beautiful. And he sees an opportunity here when she gets in trouble giving this kid an apple. And then this guy goes straight to like, I'm going to cut your fucking hand off because that's like the price they pay. And then he does this smooth, like, oh, just act crazy thing. And they do this fun little, oh, and then they basically run off. There's no big scene here. These guys just meet each other right here. And then they cut to running away a little bit. Oh, wait, are we still going? Is that all of them? No, there's more. Is that all? No, there should be several more. But anyway, but then we cut to the, I mean, we all know how the movie goes from there. Assuming that this, I don't have the rest of these pictures for some reason. No, that's it. There should be a few more screenshots, but I don't know what happened to him. But then they cut to, then he takes her to his little palace, and he's got a way better view, and we get to meet the girl. But that's like the first 15 minutes again, and it's just like I could go on like this through the whole movie, but it's just not even necessary because like just like the first 15 minutes, there's just so much wrong with it. So much.
Definitely. Good point.
I don't know. I just wanted to just kind of express. Oh, here we go. Are we looking at this? Oh my God. Rex, this is what you were talking about.
Yeah. That's what I was telling you. The blowjob right there.
Right there in this little piece of ice.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty funny. Feel the curves, it says.
Yeah. See her mouth right there and then the dick. Right in the eyes.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to look